Do, 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 do.
Another three-sport athlete: football, basketball, track. He builds computers from scratch. He orders the parts, puts them together, and had over 100 tackles, 34 TFLs, and 20 sacks.
Hello, everybody. That was Jim Harbaugh on mgoblue.com talking about 23 Michigan signee Eno Etta. Yeah, we are ready to go here. We're hoping to interview, if everything goes well, Etta coming up in just a couple minutes from right now. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Hope you're staying warm. That's for sure. On this Friday, the eve of Christmas Eve. And, we invite you over to a fireside chat on the Den, on Amazing Blue Review. It's the posting board, and it's very entertaining and intelligent banter on Michigan. It's a fine community. I like it. You like Michigan? You will love the Maize and Blue Review. So check that out. I also want to invite you to leave your feedback. And coming up in 20 minutes from right now, I'll be reading your feedback. And what is it going to be on? Well, it can be on anything. Most of it usually is Michigan related. But I will ask you, and this is Michigan related. It is about Michigan winning 2 more games this year. And I ask you, point blank, think it over. What would a Michigan football national championship mean to you? I'm going to cut it down a little bit, cut to the chase. What would a natty mean to you this year? That's what I want to know. I mentioned the Maize and Blue Review, and I mentioned the eve of Christmas Eve. And if you're out there thinking, I'm not going out in this weather and I still need to do some shopping for the Michigan fan of my life, I've got you covered. You give the gift of the Maize and Blue Review this holiday season, this eve of Christmas Eve. You can do it. You can get it done pretty fast. And I'll tell you what, the Michigan fan in your life, maybe the one that you're looking at right now, in the mirror, in your phone, you will love it. If you want to give a gift to yourself, go to michigan.rivals.com and we'll see you over on the Den. All right, we have them. Let's connect then with Eno Etta, one of Michigan's 23 signees for the class of 23. And here he is. Eno, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, sir. It's really cold in Texas, so it's starting to show some shades in Michigan, but not quite. But I'm doing pretty good, man. I just signed, so I'm really excited, to get up there and start working. So I couldn't be better, sir. I'm really blessed right now.
Yeah, congratulations on that. I was talking with some family that lives down in Arkansas, and she was saying, "Oh, it's getting cold down there," and I was thinking she was going to say 40 degrees or something, but no, near freezing. Is it getting that cold down there in Texas too?
Yeah, it's getting like that. I don't know the exact. Let me see. I don't know the exact temperature, but it's something I don't think we've seen in a while. I don't like how it's getting like this. I mean, it's 15 degrees right now, actually. Yeah, so it's 15. I was hoping I wouldn't see anything like that until I got up there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, tell me about that. That's a certain aspect. Michigan, to me, I look at Michigan and I see they have everything, from the athletics to the academics, the stadium. But, there is the one thing. It does get cold. And, and there's a lot of guys, you think about it gets you ready for the pros because, you don't know. You could get drafted by the Green Bay Packers or something like that. So, I mean, what kind of consideration was that when you were thinking about Michigan? And that sometimes it can get a little bit chilly.
That didn't really take much into my decision. I think it's part of the grind, to go somewhere cold and get used to it. That's just part of putting the work in, you're not always going to be in the, perfect scenario like you're always going to have to adjust. And I think, like I said, that's just part of the grind. So I'm prepared to definitely work through that. I grew up in Florida and Georgia. So I've been in the South, and then on top of living in Africa. So, there's not really a lot of cold, but I just think that that's something I can get used to, because like you said, I mean, if I'm blessed enough to, make it to the highest level, if I go to the Buffalo Bills, man, or something like that, there's no complaining. So that's just something I welcome. And, that's just something I'm willing to get used to.
Well, tell me about your trip. In your life, you're not the oldest guy here, getting ready to come to Michigan next year. You mentioned Africa, Florida, Georgia, Texas, and how long did you spend in those places? Give me a word about those places. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I was born in Seattle, and then I had spent a year or two there, and then we had actually gone back to Africa, southwestern Africa, in a country called Cameroon. So we were there for a few years, and then I moved back to the United States for kindergarten. And then so I spent my elementary school years in Georgia, and then I spent my middle school years in Florida, and then my high school years up to now I've been in Texas. We've been moving a lot for my dad's job. So I've never really been solid in one place for a long period of time.
Well, I know Cameroon for soccer or football. Did you watch the World Cup? I mean, do you like soccer?
Yeah, my dad was watching it. I'm not really the biggest fan. I used to play, but I kind of fell out of it. I was really playing for my dad, not really myself. So once I realized that, I was like, this isn't really for me. But I kind of watched a bit of the Cameroon team, man, and well, I don't know, man. I mean, we need to start. We need to start winning. I mean, we did pretty good from what I heard, but we need to start winning. I'm not really gonna give them much until I start seeing them winning on the big stage, because I don't think they made it too far. I don't think. I think someone beat Brazil. I don't know if it was them, but yeah, I don't pay too much attention to soccer.
Yeah, I don't either. I know people really like it, and so that's good if they like it and everything else. I like football, and it's great, talk with a football player like you, and one that's not only committed but signed with Michigan. Was it a bigger day when you committed? What was that, back in July, or when Wednesday, when it was National Signing Day, when actually it was official? Were they both similar? Was one better? How did that work for you?
I think they were pretty similar, but I think it was better yesterday when I signed, because the commitment, even though I'm serious. I can't speak for everybody, because you see all the flips going on, but I'm serious about my commitment. So, but also when I signed, I realized like this is my future. Like this is what I'm gonna be doing. So I think it was more important when I signed. Yeah, for sure. Because that really kind of put it set in stone, like, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 2 years.
I find you pretty fascinating, all the different places that you've been. And I was just looking, Jim Harbaugh was talking about you being, bright and smart and a good football player. And he said you wanted to be an engineer. And then he mentioned that, you build computers, and not just like building, like you get the parts and you put them together. Yeah. That is something, I had to ask you about that. But tell me a little bit about putting together computers. What's that like?
It's not as hard as people think. I don't want to sound like a greedy guy, but it's a pretty profitable business. I just built one for my brother. Obviously, I gave it to him for free, but I'll build them for people, man. And where the money's really at the how do I say it? The building fee. I'll buy all the parts like for a $700 computer, and then I'll charge people, like 900. I got to make that profit somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, that's where the money's at, man. And so, I haven't been doing it as frequently. The prices are pretty bad with specific parts, so I don't try to. I've kind of stayed out of that, but I definitely know how to do it, and that's something I think is really cool to do. But yeah, it's not as hard as a lot of people think. Like my first one, I learned how to do it in like an hour and a half, maybe tops, and so.
Eno, you're I think you're being modest, man. And maybe for the younger generation, you guys, you throw you a bunch of, chips and wires. The next thing you know, you're building, a robot or something like that. You get a little bit older, we have a hard time, signing out of the computer and everything else. But, I'll tell you what has impressed me. I was just looking through and reading a couple stories about you. A 4.2 GPA. You've just played football for a couple years, and yet I was looking nearly 50 sacks. Let me take two of those things. First of all, a 4.2 GPA. So you're a serious football player, but you're serious about studying as well.
Yes, sir. I come from a very traditional family. So my parents, especially my dad, have always been hard on me. When it comes to academics, like my dad weren't seeing eye to eye with the recruiting process at first, because when I got the Stanford offer, he's like, why aren't you committed already? You already know where you should go. And I was like, hey, I got to weigh out my options. But, my dad always teaches me not to put all my eggs in one basket. So when I told him, I got my first offer, the first thing he told me, wasn't even congratulations. And he was like, so now that you're a big time football player, you're going to let your grades drop. And I was like, yeah, no, sir. He's very serious about academics, and he knows that football, only like 1% make it to the highest level. So, that should be my plan B. That's what he always tells me. And my plan A should be to get my degree. So that's exactly what I'm planning to do, So, yeah.
It sounds like a great plan. I got just a couple more questions here for Eno Etta, Michigan. Now, signee on Wednesday, a national signing day. Are you going to come up for I ever see some of your fellow classmates are already enrolled in class. Are you planning on being in for spring, or are you coming in August? Do you know what your table is right now?
I go to a private school, so my school's not allowing me to actually enroll early, which really sucks. But it is what it is. So it's not like I'm going to be sitting around doing nothing. I'm still going to be working my butt off, until I get up there. But, as soon as the day I can get up there, I'm going to be up there. So, I'm probably going to have to come in the summer. Like I said, it sucks, but there's nothing I can do about it. So, yeah.
What's up? Like around here, I could tell you that people are buzzing about New Year's Eve and Michigan being in the college football semifinal, taking on TCU. You're pretty close down there to Texas Christian University. Yeah. Is there a lot of buzz there from the Horned Frogs? What's going on?
Yeah, man. My school is kind of a, Texas A&M pipeline. A lot of kids go to Texas A&M, but they also go to TCU. A lot of people's parents go to TCU, man. So I'm always hearing it from them about who's better. And, especially now that they're playing, it's kind of sad, man, because I'm seeing, all these people get their hopes up thinking they're going to beat Michigan. And I feel bad for them, quite frankly, because, I really like the guys at TCU. I don't think, what they expect to happen is really going to happen. And I think it's going to be, a rude awakening, when they figure that out. But
tell me, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I like your breakdown of the game. I think, the Big 12, the Big 10, I think that they haven't seen a defense like Michigan. I'm not sure they've seen the balance either. 48 and a half sacks. I mean, what's your favorite part of playing football? Is it getting to the quarterback and getting him on the ground?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Really, anytime I can make a big play, because, it's not necessarily for me. There's a lot of guys, especially in high school, and I know there will be in college. There's a lot of guys that care and, depend especially on me to do my job. So, just knowing I can do my part to help my team. And, that's what really brings the joy, because, how do I say this? Like it was tough moving to, my school for high school. And, I owe the coaches a lot, because they believed in me. I had never played football before. They told me, they could make me to something great, and I believed them. I gave up my basketball dream to, play football, and it took me way farther. So I'm forever in their debt, So I just give them everything I have on the field, and that's going to carry over to Michigan as well. The Michigan coaches gave me a great opportunity to, solidify my future. So I'm going to give them, you guys, the fans, everything I have, because I didn't have to be in this position. There's a lot of DNs in the country, but they chose me. So, I'm really blessed. And, I feel like it would be a disservice if I didn't give, 110%, every play.
I feel like that you can be your best version of yourself out on the football field for Michigan over the next couple of years. You will be Eno Etta, the maize and blue. But let me ask you about some of the defensive ends. Michigan has had quite a run over the last few years. And, they got Mike Morris right now on the team. Last year, the number 2 pick from the Detroit Lions, Aiden Hutchinson. Kwity Paye before that went in the first round to the Colts. Ajabo went last year. He would have been a first rounder to the Ravens. Rashawn Gary. I mentioned the Green Bay Packers a little bit earlier. I know he's out for the year, but he was the number 1 player in the country when he went to Michigan. When you hear all those names, do you like all those guys? Are there 1 or 2 of them that you say, hey, those guys were my favorite? That's who I would like to play like. What do you think?
I would definitely like to play like, Aiden and David, because even before I was committed to Michigan, I used to watch their highlights all the time because I like to watch players' highlights to, pick up what I can learn. And those are 2 guys I felt like I could learn a lot from. So seeing, Michigan's track record of putting guys in the NFL, it really helped me make my decision because, there's not a lot of schools that can really claim to be DLU. You got your Georgias and, Alabamas and whatever. But, I feel like Michigan has really got something going. And, it's not just their D-line, their whole defense, their whole offense. Like you say, it's a really balanced team. And just the culture over there, man, I think they're building something great. And I really like them because, like I said a few days ago, we don't really – even in our recruiting class, man, I know a lot of the fans were, kind of disappointed because with all the success Michigan got, we didn't get a lot of 5 stars in this class, what people were expecting. But, with Michigan's developmental program, I think the only 5-star out of those guys you mentioned was Rashawn Gary. But all those guys still, got developed and went to the league. So I think that's something a lot of people overlook when it comes to Michigan. So yeah.
Great point. I got 2 quick hitters for you. You can take as long as you want for them. When you as a defensive end, are you somebody, does it matter if you have your hand on the ground or standing up? Does that matter to you? What did Mike Elston or Jim Harbaugh or Steve Klinksdale or Jesse Minter say to you about that?
Well, I had talked to Coach Elston, and he in high school, even though I'm a bigger guy, I'm probably not even going to play it at the weight I am. I'm probably going to be way lighter in college. So this year I tried to, my senior year, I came off, 2 feet, but, on all fours, hand in the dirt is definitely, I can do both. So it doesn't matter to me. On pass rush downs, I'll probably be in a Y5, in a 2-foot stance. But, on rundowns, I think it's cool. I think it's good to be in the dirt, So it doesn't really matter to me, But whatever the coaches want me to do, I'm going to do. So, yeah, whatever I'm needed to do, I'll do. So
I love the attitude. What are the measurables? 6'5"? What do you want to play at? 250? What?
Yeah, I when I talked to Coach Herb, he told me I'm gonna be, my whole career probably 260 to 270 range, nothing higher than that. So, that's really what I was. Right now I'm in the 270, so I'm probably not even gonna be playing at this weight because even then I like using my speed. So, being my lightest is something I definitely, would like to play at because, speed, I feel like speed is where it's at, because I can bring the power, with the long arm, but not a lot of guys can really have that speed to run around the tackle. And that's something I feel like I'm good at. So, yeah, some people debate about the 6'4". I don't know. Technically I'm 6'4.5", but, on Twitter I'm 6'5", so that's all you need to know, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Hey, you might still be growing. You don't know. You might be 6'6" by the time you come up, and who knows when Ben Herbert, the strength coach that you mentioned. All right, final thing for you. I'm looking at your outlay there in the background, and it kind of looks like you have I don't know, is that like a purple tint in the room? That kind of vibe you got going on? What are you trying to get? Tell everybody here with what you got going on.
I mean, yeah, purple's my favorite color. So usually I always have my room purple. So yeah, they're like LEDs you can buy. I picked them up at Target. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool, from the conventional, just regular light bulb. Because you can set it to whatever color you want. So yeah, I got some for me and my brother. He loves them. I think it's pretty cool, because you can set your own vibe to whatever you're feeling. So yeah. I'm gonna take mine to my dorms too. I think that would be even cooler, to have them up in Michigan. So
I am feeling it. The only thing I would say is on New Year's Eve, maybe just turn the purple off and just turn the lights on for one day.
yeah,
That's
maybe
it. They go back to the purple. Hey,
yeah.
Eno, really appreciate it. I enjoyed talking with you. I can't wait to see you, just like everyone else watching, listening in the Maize and Blue Review. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, have a great weekend, and stay warm down there in Texas.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I think it's really cool to interact with you guys. I mean, this is really fun to me. So thank you guys for having me, and I'll hopefully talk to you again soon.
All right, take care, Eno.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a
Appreciate
good day.
it. Yeah, there he is, Eno Etta. I can sit around talking with him. I'm thinking, maybe I should cut this short, but Eno Etta is not only a young prodigy on the football field, but this guy could go up into the broadcast booth anytime he wants, and that's one of the impressive. Thanks for his time. Like, kid, I can't wait to see him play football. And then you go out there, and I mentioned this yesterday that I can remember the kids. Say kids are kids, and a lot of people are like, oh, kids back in our day, but the kids nowadays, these kids are smart, a lot more savvy. I don't know about smart. I know smart, but I'm talking about savviness. I can remember when I first started out, and I would interview freshmen at Michigan, and you would talk with them, and not a surprise, they wouldn't be really great interviews. They hadn't had many interviews. I mean, chances to, tell their story or to talk. And it was one of the fun things over the years of watching somebody play. And you talk to them when they were freshmen, and you talk to them when they're seniors, and it'd be night and day. Then you put a microphone in front of them; these guys would be talking, and this and they they worked over their 4 years, and you saw a different guy, come in as a boy, leave as a man, that kind of thing. But a guy like Etta, I mean, he's polished. He's going to be a success, whatever he does. Hopefully, great success on the football field, and then whatever he wants to do, man, build computers. If you can build a computer from scratch, you can pretty much do it. You got a job, you're going to be good to go. I was going to ask him, I get this little button that's stuck over here. Should I, just pull off the back? When I dropped my one computer, and now it doesn't fold up. So I always got to keep it. I should have asked Eno if I could have just sent that down to him, and whatever he wanted to charge me, get a little name, image, and likeness. I'll pay for it. That kind of thing. Well, there's the question I put up on the screen for you here on this Friday. I want to hear from you. What would a Michigan football national championship mean to you? So get that feedback in. I'm just interested. I am going to answer the question myself. Let me get Hadley up here. Hadley, Merry Christmas. Hadley, I feel like I've known the longest, because I have known the longest of anybody that comes in and leaves feedback. And Hadley writes that a natty to him would be the best Christmas present he's ever had. The 97 championship was special too, but this is a true national championship in which we would have no controversy. I will get lots of personal national championship apparel if it happens. I didn't think about that part. I didn't think about going out there, and like 97, you had to have the votes, and Nebraska got half and Michigan got half. Both teams were undefeated, and that is used against Michigan these ensuing 25 years when you talk to like whoever, a non-Michigan fan, they're always like, oh yeah, you guys only won that half, they'll bring that up. So, that is a pretty interesting point. I too, and if you're old enough to remember 97, prior to 97, Michigan, it had been 50 years. They won at 47. There was some controversy. Speaking of controversy, Headley, you go back to that 48 national championship. Whoever it was, Notre Dame claimed it, but then, Michigan kicked the crap out of USC. And so they really, I don't know if they even had a claim back then, but, the writers, and Michigan won the championship in 47 and 48. Then 49, 50 years later, they did it. And in 97, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I was aware that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If Michigan wasn't going to be able to win a national championship under Bo frickin' Schembechler, and Schembechler was pretty close, but in 21 years, then, it was going to be pretty difficult to do. And then Michigan did it. And I cherished it. And I reveled in it. I embraced it. And, I tried to soak it all in, all of those things, you say, and then I'm thinking it might be another 50 years, going up to 97, and you're a kid, you say, if it just happens, and you don't know when you're a kid, but you think about it, just one time, if Michigan could just win it all, it would be the greatest sports thing ever. If Michigan just won one national championship, that's all you ask, in your life. And then, they did it. And then I'm thinking, well, and then this is what happens. You win one and you ask for just one in your entire life. And then you say, will I be alive for one more? And, hopefully, and then I'm thinking, 50 years. I mean, what, if that would be, we're getting into, 20, 48, if you're 47, if you have to wait around. And, this would be cut in half. You only had to wait 25 years. So the waiting has not been, if it happens, would have been a little bit quicker there. So, even though you just say once in a lifetime, if you could get another one here, and just how fantastic it would be, because a lot of it over the last 10 years, if you ask me, with just how recruiting, and you look and you just see what, Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State, and then, teams would come and go, Clemson from USC, but, those teams just with a huge advantage of being able to procure players by, offering them things that, Michigan was not. Michigan decided that they weren't going to play that game. And it was like, okay, you're not going to play that game. I just don't think that Michigan is going to be able to win a national championship. This was what I was saying over the last 10 years. It's just like, you can't compete with the teams that are bringing in the kind of players. Even last year, it was a cold splash of water in all of our faces when you watch Michigan go up against Georgia. It was like, wow, Georgia looks like a pro team, because they are a pro team. They were paying their players to come there, and they're like, and I know this is like, use excuses or cry, whatever. It's just what it is. But, I accepted it, and I was just like, hey, the Michigan ceiling was not a national championship. It was, getting to the college football playoff. But then on the other hand, thinking about it a little bit afterwards, like Michigan could have lined up against Cincy last year. And I think Michigan would have beat Cincy. I know the great, Sauce Gardner, on I watched last night, Monday Night Football, was on one side, and then, Cincy with a pretty good team, Desmond Ridder as their quarterback. But I think Michigan would have beat Cincy last year. And then, then they had to play Georgia, and but Georgia, you think about one shot, one game, and I think Michigan's better than last year. Can we all agree on that? Just being, straight up, not trying to, be all like, Michigan is everything. Just, putting your analyst hat on. Michigan's better than last year. Why would I say that? Well, defensively, it's a surprise, but statistically, they are better. I say way better. They're better than they were last year defensively, which is I would say a huge surprise. Offensively, Michigan's better. They score more points, and they got a quarterback that is a dual threat. that heading into that Ohio State game, I was wondering, but then, he played the game of his life, and you got a quarterback, you got J.J. McCarthy. Like, I think that Michigan this year, they could have won all of their games. I think they could have gone 11-0 if Cade McNamara wasn't hurt and, ended up being the starter for Michigan. I think he could have gone 11-0, but I don't think he would have beat Ohio State. And we know how it ended up. And so now Michigan goes in both better offensively and defensively. And, Georgia relies more on their offense this year. Their defense, they lost a lot. I mean, I'm not saying that like Georgia, this is an easy win. This is going to be very difficult. Michigan have to play the game of their life, but that's what it's about. A once in a generation, once in a 50-year, in this case, a once in a 25-year opportunity. Yeah, they're going to have to play like that, but they got a shot. They got more of a shot, this time around. And so, it's the idea of winning a national championship isn't crazy. It's Michigan will be an underdog and all that, but they were a big underdog against Ohio State. And they might end up playing Ohio State. How about that? So that's where I sit answering the question myself. So let's see where the people are at when it comes down to winning a national championship and what that would mean to them. Let's see here. We go to the coach. The 97 championship is ours. Nebraska's panhandled, and they got a piece of it. Yeah, I mean, it was a send-off for their coach. And I'm not over here saying, hey, well, look, they went 12-0, but Michigan won the majority of the pieces and all that. So yeah, I mean, whatever. Michigan won the national championship, winning. I don't have to sit around always saying, oh, they won a half or anything else. They won it. Those were the rules. They were undefeated. They did everything they could. They won, and they are the champions. That's right. They won in 97. Richard says it's not morbid, not to get morbid, but it would cap off my life's fandom of the University of Michigan. Yeah, that's right, Richard. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime. Look, we're all going to, hopefully it's not going to be for a long time, but, all of us are going to go up to football's Valhalla, in the sky one day. Down here on Earth, you hope that you are able to get one. You're hoping that, your team, sports-wise, they're able to make it to the very top. And, I was 26 in 97 when Michigan won it. I remember it all, I was old enough to cherish it, but, if you're, who knows? I mean, you could be a lot younger than me and not even remember 97 or barely remember 97. And maybe you're old enough to remember the 47-48 back-to-back. And you're sitting around, that would be a capper. 50, 60, 70. You don't have to be 70 to remember it. Talking about, my mom's 80. She could, if this is her, feels like it's her life sports achievement to, I'd have to ask her about, some of those point a minute clubs or whatever. No, those weren't, were they the Mad Magicians, the 40-17? Point a minute was Yost teams from the teens, I think. But I do think the Mad Magicians, 47-48, and then, that's, you don't get to pick, but, if you're sitting around 80-something years old and you recall the back-to-back, championships in the late 40s, and then you get a little bit older and you saw another one. And you said, man, I waited 50 years in between championships. And now here you are, 50, 60, 70, 80. Yeah, you're going to be up there to remember those. It's kind of like it still happens. People still remember those, the Lions 57 championship, and they're like, I just want to wait and win one more. It's like not a whole lot of people, remembering those 57. championships. Let's see what Jason is saying about what a natty would mean to him. He says, I think that we are in the driver's seat in the Big Ten and have been for 2 years. We won a national championship, and it puts us in the same vehicle as the consistent top 4 every year, fighting for the driver's seat. I like how you put that, Jason. I've been hoping for Michigan to become the university that Bo coached, and we are, and more. The coach, AJ, weighing in. I think Michigan has a blueprint to win. It's not like some of these other teams throwing together talent. U of M has the prototype players they want in each position, along with the coaching and the development. Let me go ahead and put a little star next to AJ. Take a little screenshot of that one if I can. Get these glasses. Try to look cool. I like that one. Let's get some more of this feedback up in here. I'm not, I was telling myself going into the holiday weekend, I'm not thinking about the NIL, so nothing with this next thought here, but I don't really want to do it. I will have waited a long time for the second one, but this one will be all ours. Echoing what Hadley had to say earlier, Richard S. I like it. Jason throwing some birthday wishes out to Coach Harbaugh and Kirby Smart. Is that right? Is it Jim Harbaugh's birthday? Let me check. Jim Harbaugh. James Joseph, here he is, comes up. Date of birth, December the 23rd, 1963. Place of birth, Toledo. Look at that, Jason. Pretty impressive. Knowing James Joseph's birthday, I feel like I should be dealing off some that's the Christmas present. Your present is, Jim Harbaugh better than everyone on here. That's impressive. Now, I didn't know that. I wasn't aware. I do remember last year, I think he wished Kirby Smart a happy birthday, didn't he, at his news conference down there in Miami? So it's kind of coming back. I believe that was what was going on. Well, my brother-in-law is actually, his birthday is on Christmas Day. And for all of you Christmas Day babies, or right around Christmas, he kind of tells that same story every year. I ask it every year. Like, did you like being born on Christmas Day? And he gives the same thing. No, he felt like he got kind of gypped, because every time he would get a present from anybody, they'd say, hey, that's for your birthday and Christmas. It didn't matter if it was. And so if you wanted something big, you want something big all the time when you were a kid. You want a bike. Like, I want to get a bike. And they're like, well, that's for your birthday and Christmas. Well, why can't you just say that's for Christmas? And then, hey, the radio is for my birthday. This computer is for Christmas. I know that Bo, speaking of Shem Beckler and Bob Ufer, both born on the same day, April the 1st. But look at that. Antoine yesterday gave Antoine the gift here on the eve of Christmas Eve of combination routes for the Michigan wide receivers. The next thing I think is just the knowledge of film watching for everyone else that Antoine is imploring us to undertake, of being able to watch the film where you can pick some things up. Don't just watch the highlights, right, Antoine? Watch the tape, the film. You just watch highlights, you can see a little bit, but it's like skimming through a book. The Reader's Digest. You read the whole book. Cliff notes, highlights, right? Richard says, imagine 2 girls and a wife with birthdays on December 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Well, you would be very lucky if that's the case for you, Richard, to have 2 girls and a wife. What a special holiday season that would be. You know, my birthday's the second day of summer, June 22nd. And it's like right in the middle, or halfway through from Christmas here. So I always liked that when I was a kid. I always thought, I get hooked up at Christmas, and then 6 months later, so 6.5 months later, it's it's my birthday. And then you get a little bit older and you become a father, and now it's like it's my birthday and it's Father's Day. And then I got married, wait for it, on June 22nd. And every time I say that to someone, they say, "Well, you never forget it." And you're right. I mean, that's a nice byproduct of it, because I wouldn't want to be in that position, like to be, married on, I don't know, June 1st or something. June 1st got there, or it was June 2nd, and my wife was sitting around going, what'd you think was yesterday? I'm like, I don't know, did the Tigers lose or something? And then she'd be like, no, got married. I said, oh, but I never forget. I haven't so far. So, and it has worked out. It's been very convenient that way. It's very nice. But I know what it's like, though, because I get a gift, like my mom might send me a gift, and she'll say, "Oh, that's for your anniversary and your birthday." Oh man, I kind of, I kind of, I didn't think of that part, that double gifting, but there it is. It happens on my birthday. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. I want to thank Eno Etta. I want to wish everybody again a very happy holiday, happy weekend here with Christmas being on Sunday, Christmas Eve, very special weekend. And with this weather out, just I don't know, when I crossing my fingers, I was out in the sub-zero weather for about 15 minutes today, and it's no joke. It was no joke. It was. I mean, what am I going to say? It was really cold out there, so hopefully nobody has to that is listening right now have to actually be out there in this particular weather. But that's it. I'll be back on Monday. Until then, everybody have a wonderful Christmas weekend. Goodbye.